Hi, are you tired of meetings that waste your time and others' time? Well, we have a 3-month virtual course for you to take called Meetings That Rock. We think this will take your meetings to a whole new level. My name is Barbara McKay. I'm with North Star Facilitators, and I'm a certified professional facilitator. I've certified people from all over the world, and I've learned that there really are some major competencies that people need to run on a consistent basis, effective and inclusive meetings. So who's the course for? Well, we think it'll appeal to people who have seen a lot of meetings that don't work well for them or are leading meetings on a regular basis, and you need perhaps a wider range of tools. In our course, we're going to cover at least 35 different techniques, tools, and tips, and we think this will really improve your meetings in terms of inclusivity, engagement, and effectiveness. So, what are those top 6 competencies that we're talking about? Well, we're going to get back to that in just a minute, but we know that we're going to explore them in quite a bit of depth. You'll have practice exercises to do, great handouts that you can do on your own or with other team buddies from all over the world. We want to sharpen your ability to pull out the exact tool, technique, when you need it for every agenda item. We're going to experience and practice fundamental techniques that you can use to consistently engage your participants in a way that you've never engaged them before. We think you're going to learn to generate a tremendous amount of trust with you as the meeting leader and within the team, and that's really important for your meetings to go well. We expect that you're going to experience a very positive shift to resilient and happy teams in your meetings. And probably really important, and something that you would love, is that you're going to consistently achieve lasting action and decision out of your meetings. So I said we'd come back to those 6 competencies. What are we going to do? Well, we're going to spend a fair bit of time on the competency of designing for participation. How do you get that? What are the very specific things? We're going to give you a self-assessment tool. We're then going to give you a very easy template to follow for designing your meeting. Ways to create objectives that get both at the product that you want from the meeting and the experience of the meeting. And you're going to learn to write those objectives in a way that takes you to a whole different level of facilitation. Third, we're going to give you 3 frameworks for productive discussions. These are frameworks that I have used over and over again, and they're tremendously helpful in terms of structuring your conversation so that you keep people on track all of the time. Fourth, we're going to move you to building greater competency and creativity and brainstorming tools. How do you just inject that zing that gets people to richer and bolder and more innovation in your meetings and your designing of whatever you're designing. Fifth, we're going to actually teach you some ways to work with decision and lasting action. We, again, are going to give you a couple of frameworks that you've probably never seen before, but they're really great if you've got a lot of proposals and you want to get through things very quickly, and you've got to get almost a very built understanding of how those proposals are going to go forward and which ones make the most sense at this particular point in time. And lastly, we're going to teach you a lot about consensus, and maybe not in this order, but we know that consensus is a really important piece. It's where you build agreement with everybody. It's where you know that you have some underlying foundation to take things forward. So that, again, we're going to show you both quick and easy ways to build consensus and a little bit more sophisticated ways to do that. So don't forget, over 25 tools, tips, and techniques. So before I leave you, I just want to know that I always like to leave people with tips, and I'm going to do that in just a minute. But I do want to point you out to this NorthstarFacilitators.com Meetings That Rock website. You go there, and if you sign up by the end of May this year, you're going to get $100 off this course. And there's also a group rate. So be sure to get in early because we're only taking 25 to 30 spots total. So what's that technique I was going to tell you about? Well, I want to first share my favorite ground rule. My favorite ground rule is everyone will hear and be heard. And it's from ICA Canada. That stands for the Institute of Cultural Affairs, if you want to look them up on the search engine. And that's not really easy to do, but I find that if I just post this ground rule in the meeting, people begin to read it, and they read it over and over again throughout the meeting, and you will find that they start to go, oh yeah, I really need to pay attention to this person. I really need to figure out what they are saying and not just dismiss them because I don't understand them or they come from a different perspective or a different culture that I don't understand. So everyone will hear and be heard. That's my favorite ground rule. Now, what's my favorite toy? Well, I have to say, this is my favorite toy. I don't even know if you can still get it, but it's this very cool geodesic dome by Buckminster Fuller. I grew up in Montreal, and he built the first geodesic dome in 1967 in Montreal. And I visited that as a little girl, and I was just really impressed with it. And it's a favorite toy. It's lasted 20 years. So if you can get something like that that has movement and color and motion to it, you can toss it to different people, and it goes all over the room. Another favorite toy of mine is a giant koosh ball. Toss that around, ask people to share one idea before they pass it on to the next person. Finally, if you need to get people back into your meeting and they're talking away and you can't get their attention, use a crazy noisemaker. Just go like, oh, you're going to have so much fun with the noisemakers that you find. And then, no, I'm not an advocate for Newland pens. Yes, I am an advocate, but I don't get a commission from selling them. But Newland pens are recyclable. You refill them every time they run out. And they have fat tip edges, they write beautifully, and they're very sustainable. So I do recommend refillable pens. That's all for now, folks. I just want to say I'm Barbara McKay, and I want you in my Meetings That Rock webinars and course that starts this summer. Please sign up before May 31st, and if you miss the deadline, I still want you at full price. NorthstarFacilitators.com, Meetings That Rock.